Have you prepared? The earth is about to crack. Economies plunge. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin about to explode. On October 4th, we warned the world that a world market crash begins. Since the initial warning, we've uploaded numerous videos to continue to warn the world. Have you been listening? Within these videos, we discuss what is called a rising wedge pattern, and when the wedge breaks, how a violent market sell-off can occur. This type of sell-off occurred in the Great Crash of 1987, additionally in the crash of 1929, and presently has occurred in December of last year. In the crash of 87, the initial drop was a 10% drop followed by a 70% retracement that ultimately led to a 37% market plunge from the top. In the crash of 1929, the initial crash was 17%, that then led to a 60% retracement, that then ultimately led to a plunge down 50% from the top. Now, let's look at present day charts. On October 3rd, the world markets topped, and the day of the video, on the 4th of October, the world market crash began. Since this time point, the markets have dropped, rebounded, dropped, and rebounded. And then in the month of December, the markets broke support and plunged 19%. Since the cycle low in December, the markets have been retracing higher. Currently today, January 30th, the markets moved up, made a high just over 25,100, and then closed the day at 25,014, filling the gap which occurred in December. If we step back and look at the chart on a larger scale, you'll notice going back to the year 2016, there is what is called a support line. The support line stopped the market from dropping in February of 2016, again in November of 2016, and if we draw the line continually up, you'll notice it even served as support in September, October. Finally, in December, the market broke, the wedge broke, and the market plunged 19%. Since the plunge, the markets have retraced. A support line which fails later becomes what's called resistance. Notice today's price action pushed the price directly back up, and it hit the underside of the support line from 2016. What's happening is the world markets, the US markets, are now at resistance, and the likelihood of it breaking this line is extremely small. Additionally, there's overhead resistance coming in from October's top on this line here. So this time point on the 30th of January into tomorrow, January 31st, it appears to be coming in at a finale top high, and anything beyond this is very, very unlikely. We should next expect a sudden price reversal back down. Now what needs to be understood here, let's scroll back to the chart of 1929 and notice on the retracement, what happens is the markets don't crash, they reverse and then quickly plunge. So the danger within the markets now is not a market crash, but a reversal after a few days is an eventual market plunge straight down. Once they turn down, they will begin to accelerate. And once the low of December is broken, we should expect a violent market plunge straight down. This is a very dangerous time in the markets. Once again, let's review. We need to look at this from a biblical perspective. In December, when the markets crashed, that was directly related to the third seal of Revelation being opened. The initial crash took the market down, again, as stated earlier, 19%. This so far has been the greatest initial crash in history. Next, in addition to the third seal being now opened, this is a masterpiece in the heavens. It states clearly there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars. And specifically here, blood moons. This entire blood moon sequence began on December 21st of 2010. Please notice the beautiful symmetry of 1,477 days to midpoint of January 1st of 2015, followed by an exact amount of 1,477 additional days to completion on January 21st of 2019, which just occurred a week ago. This masterpiece in the heavens is now complete. The probability of this being random is 0. This is a masterpiece within the heavens created by God. 2 days after this masterpiece was completed, New York allows abortions up until the date of delivery and then celebrates the abomination of God's creation. On that same day, God states to the world, in New York, you sealed your faith. You signed your death sentence. Prepare for earthquakes, eruptions, and a biblical crash. In addition to the blood moons, please recall on the 23rd of September in 2017, the celestial alignment was described within the Bible 7,000 years ago, of which it perfectly occurred on the 23rd of September of 2017. Now, let's do a little math. Within Revelation, there is what is called Daniel's timeline, or Daniel's 70 weeks. Now, we're going to take 70 weeks and add it to September 23rd of 2017, and we arrive at January 26th of 2019. That is correct, this week. At this moment in time, we have the blood moons complete. We have Daniel's first 70 week complete from Virgo giving birth on September 23rd. We are living in truly biblical times, and this week is extremely important biblically. Now, let's go back and mathematically reanalyze the great crashes of history. In 87, the markets crashed 10%. That was then followed by a 70% retrace that ultimately led to a 35% market plunge. Now, in 1929, which was considered the prior greatest crash, the initial crash leg was 17%. That was then followed by a 60% retracement that ultimately resulted in a 50% market plunge from the top. In present day, in December, when the third seal was opened, the markets crashed 19%. Now, this 19% so far is the greatest initial crash in history. In our prior updates, we were guessing that we could potentially see a 50% retracement, with the Dow retracing back up to 24,400. Instead, as of today, the markets have retraced 65%. Let's go back to the crash of 1929. The markets here retraced 60%, and in 87, the markets retraced 70%. So, this 65% retracement is still considered within normal limits, considering the prior two great crashes were 60 and 70%. Based on the fact that this current crash had a 19% initial crash, leads us to believe that the probability of this current crash being similar to the crash of 1929 is high. Therefore, we should not expect much more retracement higher than the 65%. But once January comes to an end and February begins, the likelihood of higher prices is very small. So 65% range should be a maximum point for retracement. Next, what we want to look at is this 19% crash into December of last year. Now, in the great crash of 1929, the initial drop was 17%. Following the retracement, the market plunged 50%. Following the completion of this retracement here at 65%, we should see a market plunge greater than the great crash of 1929. If we do the math, the mathematical calculation comes in potentially at a 56% market crash from the October top, taking the Dow under 12,000 down to 11,860 range. Again, this is nothing but an approximation. However, know that with a 19% initial market crash, the probability of a 50+% market drop is high. Next, let's discuss the plunge dates. Now, in 87, it took 12 trading days for the market to plunge and hit bottom. In 1929, it took 13 trading days for the market to plunge and hit bottom. Assuming that this current crash is going to be similar to the crash of 1929, we should therefore assume also 13 trading days. Assuming tomorrow comes in the high, the 31st, we should therefore assume somewhere around the 19th of February, final low could come in for this crash. The window of extreme danger is between February 1st and the 19th, based on the updated calculation. Please know that no man knoweth the day or the hour of the crash, but the crash is coming. In addition to the mathematical calculations as illustrated, let's have a look at the periodic table, specifically the elements of copper, silver, and gold. and ask the question, were the great crash years secretly hidden within the periodic table by the atomic numbers for these Olympic medals? Well, let's have a look. First, let's start with copper. Its atomic number is 29. Notice the great crash of 1929. Next, let's look at the metals gold and silver. Now, gold and silver are God's money. Therefore, gold and silver should move with God's calendar used by the Hebrews. Starting with silver, silver's atomic number is 47. The Hebrew year is 5747, which equates to 1987. Next, gold. Gold's atomic number is 79. The Hebrew year 5779 works out to exactly the year 2019, this year. What is this telling us? It's telling us that we should expect a great crash this year in 2019. Additionally, we should expect gold and silver to have a biblical price move. Now, what biblical means, it means to multiply. So we should not expect gold to go up or silver. We should expect gold and silver to multiply in price. And let's not forget who the President of the United States is when this is all occurring.
Take heed, for your government is in a coup to try and bring down the president, who I placed in the office to fix the mess the government got itself into. For you will see why I chose him very soon. As the economy tumbles, he will bring it back with wisdom he has learned over the years as a businessman. The time has come to pay attention to my true prophets and listen to what is about to happen. Take heed, for the abortion laws are looking to override the federal government. Time to seriously think about the choice you are making to secede from a government that is trying to right the wrongs. How could anyone think that murder could be justified of the innocent? All life is precious, whether in the womb or outside the womb. No one has the right to murder another human being for the sake of snuffing away their life. This crash is directly connected to the abomination of abortions in your country. My gold and my silver will be given to my people, and to those who have stepped into this blessing, who do not belong there, will be removed from this, and they will lose it. I will not allow my enemy to steal this gold and silver from my kingdom any longer. So get ready, my people, for gold will burst forth like never before and never will be again. Once this blessing is handed over to you, choose wisely what you do with it. For the time is here to get ready for the final countdown. I have spoken of the earth cracking to move the economy to fall. You have created the circumstance for this economic woe. But I do tell you, California will crack from her arrogance, and the consequences to all who participate in this demonic ritual of sacrificing my babies will be in judgment. You truly think you have the right to choose murder? Are you serious in your quest to rejoice in this practice of witchcraft? You will see the 124 come to pass, and woe to anyone who is not in my kingdom. I am the Lord God, and you will obey me whether you choose to or not. My earth will disclose her slain, and you will see the rumblings and the thunder as the mountains spew their lava, and the earth breaks apart under your feet. I will repay, for revenge is mine, says the Lord. Choose this day whom you will serve. My anger is kindled from this decision in New York, and you will pay for this crime. Get ready, America, your time is up. Woe to anyone who opposes me, for I only seek to love you, and yet you reject me. Wake up before it is too late. Time is at hand to wake up and see the arrogance of your ways before my son Yeshua returns. My angels will gather my elect from the four corners and bring them to me, away from all this corruption. You will watch as they disappear and you are left behind. The earth is breaking up, for my new heaven and earth will come down. Love to my people, your Father who art in heaven.
In closing, the masterpieces created within the heavens are telling us that time is at hand.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the markets are about to crash.
Right.
Everybody's going to lose faith in the stock market, and the money is going to flow up and go to
Bitcoin, the alternate coins, gold and silver. We're going to have a massive financial shift.
For behold, the Lord is coming out from his place to punish the inhabitants of this earth for their iniquity, and the earth will disclose the bloodshed on it, and will no longer cover its slain. Your ark of safety, at this point, should be prepared. For a wise man foresees the difficulties ahead and prepares. The fool goes blindly on and suffers. May God bless and protect you and your entire family. Be well.